Good afternoon. My name is Cornelius Dowdell, and I'm a learning strategist and talent development professional. Today, we're here to talk about why training fails and the three conditions required for behavior change. Organizations in the US spend over $82 billion on training every year. And the research is clear. Only 10 to 20% of it ever changes behavior. That's not a budget problem. That's not a content problem. That's a design problem. And it's the problem that we are here to solve today. So here's the reframe. Here's the distinction that changes everything. Learning and behavior change are not the same thing. Learning is acquired information, whereas behavior change is doing something differently, consistently, under pressure, without being reminded. Most training is designed for the former and evaluated at the later. The gap is where organizations lose. The three conditions for behavior change that we're going to discuss today is one, awareness. People must understand why change matters. Two, ownership. People must choose to change. And then three, application. People must practice in context. So here we are with awareness, the first condition, not knowing something and then filling the gap. Most programs open with objectives. The question, the question people actually need answered when they come into the classroom is, why does this matter to me specifically? Until someone feels the distance between where they are and where they need to be, no training truly moves them. The second condition, ownership. Compliance is not commitment. When people feel training is happening to them, mandated, scheduled, evaluated, they perform for the assessment and revert. Real ownership happens when learners set their own goals, name their own barriers, and make visible commitment. Self-directed behavior always outlasts imposed behavior. And then third, application. A training event is not a behavior change intervention. The science is spaced, practice is unambiguous. Behaviors rehearsed over are forgotten. Behaviors practiced over time in real context with feedback become habit. And without this, even motivated learners revert within weeks. So here's an example. In a regional training, they run the same customer service training over for the last 3 years, you know. However, the scores are fine, but the behaviors still haven't changed. So what was one of the approaches that we took? We redesigned those, utilizing those three conditions. For awareness, we replaced the compliance intro with a 10-minute data session because they needed to see exactly how their team's interactions correlated with refund rates, repeat visits, and so forth. The gap became personal. Then, for ownership, each team member set one specific commitment, not a goal assigned by HR or their manager, something that they found. They wrote it down, they said it out loud, they said it to their team members, they said it to their managers. And then for application, instead of one training day, we ran a series of learning events over a time period, integrating peer coaching in between. Customer satisfaction rose 18 points in 90 days, and the behaviors held past 6 months. So, what's next? Here's what we can do immediately. Audit for stakes, not objectives. Review your next trainings initiatives and find one place to replace an objective with a stake moment. What happens if behavior doesn't change? That's, that's one of the stakeholder questions I like to ask. Two, build one commitment moment. Design a moment where learners publicly commit to one specific behavior that they're willing to change. Have them write it out, have them have a peer or a manager kind of talk to them about it, kind of invoke accountability. And then three, replace the event with a journey. Take 1 day trainings and redesign them for shorter touch points over an extended period of time. Add in peer practice between each, and you will double retention without adding to your budget. Other tools that you can use to kind of reinforce in the classroom could be tools that you can provide from, like I like to use, values cards. I have Vic bricks and Legos and things so that people can practice in the moment, workplace scenarios, and in close. The question isn't whether people learned something, it's whether they're doing something differently. Leaders who design for behavior change don't just train their leaders or their people, they transform them. And thank you for this session today.